On January 26, 2026, tens of thousands of people woke up, opened Discord, and realized their entire community had been completely deleted overnight. There was no warning, no explanation, just years of group chats, friendships, and fan art wiped out in a single click. The person who hit that delete button was Viarrah, and she did it because she was panicking.
Was it worth the sacrifice? Was it worth the pain?
See, behind the scenes, her perfect image was melting down. Her private texts were leaking, her staff was rebelling over a secret money ledger, and she was even sending fake police threats to her own crew to scare them into silence. But none of that is why this story is dark. The real reason her career didn't survive that week is because the internet uncovered something far worse. They found out she was actively using her platform to protect and make excuses for a known predator. Now, if you're an outsider, this probably sounds like standard creator drama, but inside the Gacha community, Viarrah was untouchable. Then, in a matter of days, it all vanished. Today, we are going to look at how an elite creator built a bubble where she could never be questioned, and we'll also see the exact moment that bubble popped. And to understand how Viarrah lost everything this fast, you have to look at how she became that powerful in the first place. See, Gacha Club was basically a mobile app meant for kids to design cute chibi characters. Most people just use it to make basic skits or quick music videos. But over the years, this group of creators started pushing the game to its absolute limits. They stopped using the basic style and started hand-drawing custom clothes, setting up complex lighting and editing thousands of screenshots into actual movies. And Viarrah was the queen of that scene. Her biggest project was this animated series called Rumors. It wasn't just popular for a gacha video, it was a massive internet phenomenon with millions of views on every episode. Fans didn't see her as a hobbyist playing with an app, they saw her as a legit director. Everyone loved her for her deep writing, great voice acting, and visual standards that other creators couldn't even touch. Because of this series, Viarrah wasn't just a YouTuber anymore, she was a whole brand. She had this Discord server where tens of thousands of fans hung out every day just to talk about her lore and wait for the next episode. She was the gold standard, so if you wanted to make a good series, you literally had to study her pacing and her style. Her reputation was perfect, and her fans were so loyal that she could basically do no wrong in their eyes. Behind the scenes, there was a pretty big contradiction growing. See, Viarrah always told her fans and her team that her channel was just a stressful little hobby, and she used that excuse to remind everyone how hard she worked. But in reality, the channel was a highly successful money-making business, her videos were making serious ad revenue, and she was even selling her own merch lines. She was basically running a full animation studio while pretending it was just a casual passion project. And to keep a channel that big alive, she couldn't do it alone. She needed help, so she built this tight crew of 40 talented creators, which she called Starity. They were the secret engine behind everything, doing all the script writing, lore building, and custom art for her fantasy shows. The team works behind the scenes to elevate the production quality of her channel's fantasy universes, such as Diaries of Fantasia and Enchantment 7. So, Viarrah was sitting at the top of her world with an adoring fanbase and a super loyal crew. Of course, she felt untouchable, but one thing with this type of story is, the higher you climb, the harder you fall. And on January 25th, 2026, the first crack in the empire appeared.
Was it worth the sacrifice?
With millions of people waiting for her next video, the pressure was hitting a boiling point. Plus, here's one thing about being the queen of high-end animation. Your audience expects every single video to look better than the last one, and human hands can only work so fast. Viarrah was running on empty, totally burned out from endless editing, so she needed a shortcut to survive the grind. And on one Sunday night, she finally took it. Viarrah posted an announcement on Discord about her upcoming music video, Missing Piece. Instead of a regular teaser, it turned into a huge confession. She admitted to her fans that she used Grok AI to make the visuals for the video, and she immediately tried to play defense before anyone could even type a reply. She wrote about how guilty she felt and talked about her mental health, but she also laid out her actual excuses. She straight up admitted she didn't have the patience or the time for frame-by-frame screenshots anymore, especially since she was busy looking for a real-life job. Plus, she was already trying to handle 2 other huge series, Rumors and Diaries of Fantasia, which she promised didn't have any AI in them at all, so she basically argued that she just couldn't spend months on this specific music video when she had so much other stuff on her plate. Then, she actively tried to shut down the drama before it could even start. She begged her fan base to just respect her decision and not turn the post into a big public debate. But in the community she built, that was never going to happen. When you really look at that message, you can see exactly what she was trying to do. She dropped an automated, scraped shortcut right into a community built by human artists and then tried to ban those same artists from talking about it. She basically wanted everyone to just smile and agree, and if you called her out, she framed it like you were attacking her mental health. But the gacha community refused to stay silent. You see, this whole ecosystem is built on independent human artists. These are young creators who spend years learning how to draw custom assets, rig models, and edit frames by hand. See, to them, AI isn't some innocent time saver, it's a direct threat to their actual jobs and their craft. To make things worse, the specific tool Viarrah picked felt like a direct insult. She used Grok AI, which back in early 2026 was already a complete mess online. Everyone was complaining about its sketchy data scraping, stolen artwork, and copyright issues. So, by bringing a tool with that kind of reputation into a channel famous for prestige art, she lost her audience. Within minutes, her public Discord server turned into a total war zone. Now, Viarrah tried to play the role of an innocent, tired creator who just made a clumsy mistake. But the whistleblowers immediately dropped some private chat receipts that ruined that narrative. Days before her public post, Viarrah sent a private message to a colleague saying she was already, quote, ready for angry comments. So, this wasn't some impulsive mistake from a late night panic after all. She sat in her room, literally calculated the anger, planned for the backlash, and chose to use the machine anyway. But while she thought she could just manage a few angry fans in the dark, she was not ready for her own 40-person crew to turn on her and tear the studio apart from the inside. You see, while the public chats were melting down that Sunday night, a much bigger fight was happening behind closed doors. The 40 human creators on her production team, Starity, were completely blindsided. They didn't get a private heads up or an internal meeting. They found out a machine was replacing them at the exact same second as random fans on the internet, reading the news straight from the public announcement channel. The crew immediately flooded the staff chats, accusing Viarrah of going behind their backs and disrespecting the work they had been doing for free. When they demanded she scrap the AI entirely, Viarrah refused to back down. Instead, she tried to offer a messy compromise to stop a total walkout. She promised she wouldn't use AI for the final animations, but insisted on keeping Grok AI to generate the storyboards. But the team saw that as an even bigger insult. The storyboard is the literal soul of an animation. It's where you decide the pacing, the framing, and the story intent. By forcing a machine into that phase, Viarrah was basically telling her collaborators that their creative vision didn't matter compared to her convenience. And then, things got genuinely unhinged. As the team argued with her, Viarrah tried to defend herself by dropping a message that belongs in a hall of fame for terrible internet excuses. She literally wrote that AI isn't the only machine killing us, and complained that people care so much about AI stealing art when there are, quote, planes spraying chemicals daily. Like, she actually tried to use the chemtrail conspiracy theory to justify using Grok AI for a gacha video. She basically said she was just salty, that people only blame AI for the world's problems. Unsurprisingly, telling your professional team of artists that AI is fine because the air is poisoned did not save the studio. Because after realizing their boss cared way more about personal ease than team consensus, the crew decided they were entirely done. However, when Viarrah saw she was losing control of both her staff and her public image, she hit the nuclear button. Instead of actually answering the crew's accusations, she just deleted her public community Discord server without a single word of warning. Then, she went into the private staff channels and wiped out the entire history of the argument. She basically tried to erase all the receipts so her fans would never see what her team was actually saying. By deleting the server and scrubbing the chats, Viarrah probably thought she successfully put out the fire. She thought the silence would make the drama go away, but a few days later, a commentary channel named Flotalendi dropped a massive expose video. And that changed everything. The story was no longer just about a lazy AI shortcut. Instead, the video shifted the focus to a much bigger problem, exposing the messy financial secrets behind her studio. See, for years, Viarrah told everyone that her crew, Starity, was just a non-profit passion project. She always used that narrative to show how hard she worked on a humble hobby. However, the whistleblowers shattered that innocent image. Her channel was a successful business making active ad revenue and pulling in millions of views, yet she was running it on the backs of free labor. But then, the biggest issue was that she was secretly running a double standard. While 40 team members were pouring their hearts into her brand for $0, believing everyone was a volunteer, Viarrah was quietly paying a select few behind closed doors. This is where creators like Lunoir, AJ, and Maji enter the story. To an outsider, these names mean nothing, but inside Starity, these were prominent, highly talented creators. They worked directly alongside the rest of the unpaid staff. Lunoir was a key animator and voice actor for the channel, known for contributing heavy visual frames. Ajay was another vital animator helping Viarrah piece together her complex timelines. And Maji was a highly skilled creator brought in to handle high-end video projects. Now, the unpaid staff members didn't riot because they hated volunteering. They rioted because they discovered a massive double standard. Creators doing equally grueling work were left uncompensated. Their work directly drove views to Viarrah's monetized channel, yet they were locked out of the loop. They were totally unaware that their peers were operating under separate financial agreements. Moreover, keeping these deals a secret destroyed the trust. It exploited starstruck fans who thought they were part of a uniform passion project. And with the secret ledger out in the open, Viarrah finally released a 12-page response document to defend her bookkeeping. She tried to justify her transactions line by line, arguing that she wasn't some exploitative boss practicing favoritism. She explained that she paid Lunoir for a specific 30-second animation clip using personal money she saved from an old day job. She said she paid AJ a smaller, capped fee due to her financial limits, even promising to double AJ's pay if Rumors Part 3 performed well on YouTube. And she argued that Maji was hired under a separate, independent contract to handle a music video entirely on their own. In her response, Viarrah admitted she saw absolutely no reason to tell the rest of the 40-person team about these payments because she viewed them as private business commissions. But the community saw right through that excuse. You simply cannot hide financial deals from a volunteer crew and pretend there isn't a massive power imbalance. It looked like Viarrah was using the free labor of 35 young creators to build a massive commercial platform, all while quietly funding her closest friends in the dark. The trust was dead, the team was fractured, and the drama was about to boil over into a live stream that descended into pure digital warfare. By Friday night, the public pressure on Viarrah was immense, and Flotalendi's exposure video about the secret money ledger was spreading across the community at lightning speed. So, to save her collapsing reputation, Viarrah decided she could not just rely on written Google documents. She launched a public live broadcast on YouTube to address the community face to face. Before the stream even went live, she made an explicit promise to her audience. She told everyone she would be facing the controversy alone. She wanted to project the image of a transparent leader stepping up to answer her critics, but the second the broadcast started, that promise was broken. Viarrah didn't sit on that stage alone. Instead, she brought a close circle of vocal friends right onto the stream microphone with her. Plus, instead of actually addressing the evidence about Grok AI or the selective payments, the stream instantly turned into a defensive wall. Viarrah and her friends began targeting the people who spoke out against her. Her team openly dismissed the whistleblowers. They ran straight to the classic influencer playbook, calling them bitter, jealous attention seekers who were just clout chasing off her name. Viarrah completely lost her cool. She took to the mic and called Flotalendi's expose video literal trash. I mean, when you have hundreds of thousands of followers and you call a critic trash on camera, it sends a clear signal to your fans. Her supporters in the live chat immediately took it as a green light to attack. They began aggressively harassing anyone in the feed who tried to defend the Starity crew. Then, the stream crossed a dangerous line. Right in the middle of the scrolling chat feed, Flotalendi was actively doxxed. A viewer typed out their private, real-world address for thousands of people to see. And even though a critic's actual home address was leaking live, Viarrah's mods did absolutely nothing. They didn't clear the feed. They didn't delete the info. They made zero attempts to ban the attacker or keep anyone safe. In her defense document, Viarrah tried to explain away the chaos. She claimed she didn't do it out of malice or because she wanted to hide from criticism. She wrote that she was just overwhelmed by the sudden backlash from people she considered friends. She panicked and shut everything down out of pure heartbreak. But there is a big double standard here. If she was truly a panicked, heartbroken victim who just wanted peace, why was her platform actively enabling a pile-on? The most terrifying proof of this was the active presence of Joshua Moon, the notorious owner of Kiwi Farms. He was sitting right in her live chat, typing condescending commentary to bully her critics. At one point, a teenage Gacha fan who supported the Starity team tried to type a message in the chat, but Joshua Moon targeted the child directly. He publicly berated the minor in the live feed, calling them ignorant and foolish. Plus, at no point during the entire broadcast did Viarrah or her team challenge him. They didn't mute him, they didn't ban him, and they allowed inside jokes to keep playing on the microphone while an internet harasser bullied a child and a creator was doxxed. Viarrah wanted to control the narrative, and she let her platform turn into an unsafe war zone to achieve that. As the fallout from the Starity split tore through the community, people started digging deeper into Viarrah's past. They wanted to see if this was just a one-time panic. However, they unburied a far older, deeply unsettling chapter of her career. At this point, the scandal was no longer just about an AI video or a broken money ledger. People were now bringing up the absolute worst thing an internet creator can face, and it involved protecting a predator. Whistleblowers began dropping receipts regarding Viarrah's historical stance on a creator named Len Totally. And to understand why this sent shockwaves of anger through the community, well, we have to look at exactly who Len Totally was. Long before this scandal, he was a cornerstone of the Gacha YouTube community, commanding over 500,000 subscribers. He was so prominent that the game's creators featured his character as an official preset inside the Gacha Club app. But in February 2021, his career was violently destroyed. Leaked Discord logs exposed Len Totally as an adult creator in his early 20s, actively ruining and soliciting images from a 14-year-old. The logs were stomach-churning. He was using his clout to isolate this kid and sending messages. And get this, his apology when caught was literally just 2 sentences long. 2 sentences for a career-ending crime. This exposure completely horrified the community. I mean, the Gacha audience is overwhelmingly made up of young children and vulnerable teenagers, so his actions were treated as an ultimate breach of safety. He was permanently exiled, his official game preset was scrubbed from the software, and he was universally blacklisted. Len was totally treated as a ghost. He was a dangerous individual that no responsible adult should ever associate with. But when the allegations against him were actively breaking, Viarrah didn't use her platform to protect the kids in her community. Instead, as an influential adult leader, she actively participated in private circles to question, doubt, and minimize the victims' claims. She actively accepted and repeated rumors designed to discredit the minor victims, all to protect the reputation of a fellow elite creator. When she was later confronted about this in a tense, private Discord conversation, her excuse was absolutely wild. She literally admitted that after his actions came to light, a lot of people stuck beside him, and she was one of them. She claimed that they were told the minor victim was obsessed over him, and that he didn't want anything to do with her. She then wrote, quote, "I blindly believed it considering many who knew her didn't like her." Let that sink in. She blindly believed a grown man over a 14-year-old victim, simply because the victim wasn't popular in their social circles. She protected a predator because of high school clique drama. Viarrah didn't even apologize or say how messed up the situation was. Instead, she flipped the script and attacked Maven. She accused Maven of running a personal crusade just to destroy her career. She literally claimed they were just trying to kick her off the platform to look morally superior. When Maven pressed her on why she doubted the 14-year-old victim, Viarrah dropped her real logic. She basically argued that if a big creator gets accused of ruining, you should stay totally neutral until there's absolute proof. To justify this, she started making up all kinds of wild, hypothetical scenarios. She turned the conversation back on Maven, asking how they would feel if an innocent person had their life ruined by a fake accusation. But Maven cut through that excuse, and their response is something you really need to hear. Maven pointed out that in a community full of kids, waiting for a final court conviction before doing anything isn't neutrality. It's a direct choice that shields a potential predator. They argued that community safety means an adult leader has to protect the child first. You don't prioritize the reputation of your popular friend. The situation got even more disturbing when Flaudalendy dropped another massive update. The community investigation was heading into a dark, hidden network that went way deeper than just one creator's bad choices. Flaudalendy revealed that Len Totally had quietly sneaked back onto the internet. He was reposting his old long-form videos into YouTube Shorts, trying to farm views from a brand new audience who had no idea who he was. Flaudalendy strictly warned the Gacha community to stay far away from his page. And then came the real bombshell. Flaudalendy shared an anonymous confession letter from an insider. This letter shattered the idea that Len Totally was working alone after his cancellation. The leak claimed that Len had secretly formed a hidden production crew called Team Antagonist. The squad was made up of minor writers, animators, and voice actors who were being gaslit by a small group of adult managers. According to the document, these adults manipulated the minors into believing that Len's past ruin behavior was just an innocent, clumsy mistake and that he deserved total redemption. Whenever a minor on the team tried to question Len's sketchy behavior, the adult higher-ups immediately shut them down to keep them in line. The document uncovered an even more terrifying lead. The confession letter explicitly claimed that a 12-year-old child was brought into team antagonist. Even though she initially lied about her age to bypass Discord's terms of service, the team eventually discovered her true age and accepted her anyway. The insider claimed Len would openly flirt with this 12-year-old girl right in the public group chat and constantly pull her into private messages. When team members questioned it, the adult managers protected Len. They kept saying he would never do such a thing, leaving the child isolated. When childhood friends eventually exposed Len again, the adult managers instantly deleted the server, wiped the channels, and forced the remaining minors to stay silent to protect their own reputations. Now, Flotalendi is transparent about this evidence. She explicitly states she currently has no physical proof, just the anonymous user's word. She frames this as an unconfirmed lead and is actively calling for witnesses to break their silence. Honestly, this leak is exactly why everyone was so furious with Viarrah's absolute proof rule. It showed that while elite creators were hiding behind legal terms and playing neutral, a creepy underground network was using that exact neutrality as a shield to keep quiet and protect predators. By Monday, February 2nd, this whole thing went completely off the rails. This wasn't just some standard internet drama anymore. Maven officially dropped everything they had into a massive public archive for everyone to see. And instead of dropping another emotional statement about her mental health or actually talking to her old crew, Viarrah went straight for the lawyers. She sent Maven an urgent formal warning, claiming she'd already gone to the cops and filed a police report against them. She gave them a strict 24-hour ultimatum. Delete the entire whistleblower document and publicly apologize, or get ready for a massive international lawsuit. However, this was just a classic scare tactic to bully them into silence. She basically tried to use a trip to the police station to censor the whole community. But here's the best part. Maven was actually a law student. They looked at the attached paperwork and saw right through her bluff. See, the file Viarrah sent wasn't a court order. It wasn't a lawsuit, an indictment, or anything legally binding at all. It was literally just a preliminary police report. In the real legal system, that paper carries absolutely zero weight. It can't force anyone to delete anything. It was just Viarrah's personal side of the story typed onto an official-looking piece of paper, weaponized as a scare tactic to scrub her digital trail. So, Maven stood their ground. They refused to take down the archive. The documents are still public to this day, standing as a permanent reminder of just how far an elite creator will go to silence criticism. And at the end of the day, Viarrah's downfall is a big lesson for the internet. When a creator spends years acting like public criticism is a crime, they lose touch with reality. They start treating their volunteer staff like free disposable labor. They look at feedback as personal bullying, and they throw out fake legal threats just to dodge accountability. But online empires run entirely on community trust. The second you decide that protecting your own pride matters more than protecting your own people, you've already lost. Viarrah didn't just lose her studio. She proved that the empire she built wasn't destroyed by her critics, she tore it down herself.